Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download. It's Tuesday, brought to you by Tire Pros. The Dirty Air segment, we're going to talk about Michigan and everything that went down there. We got our winner calling in today, Tyler Reddick, and a little bit more. We're going to have a little fun with Mike Davis. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download, and we are in the Dirty Mo Media studio. It's Tuesday, and it's Dirty Air presented by Tire Pros. We talk about Tire Pros because they are a partner here at Junior Motorsports, obviously sponsoring race cars, but they also sponsor us here in the studio doing our podcast. And what's great about Tire Pros is they're owned by people in your community. So they're your neighbors. So you're wanting to support your community, support your neighbors, and they can do anything. They're not just tires. They do alignments, they fix brakes, they do everything. So go check it out. If you need something done to your car, take it there. I was a service mechanic. I can appreciate that. So appreciate you, Tire Pros, and we'll carry on. The race at Michigan. Let's get right into the race at Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mike Davis gives us a lot of talk. We talk a lot in this room on the show. Last week we had a real hilarious freaking thing we were doing. We were giving Mike a hard time about his voicemail on his phone, and then we went on and on about other things in our lives, and it all got cut from the show. Yeah, there's stuff that we think's awesome that you guys just never hear. This might even get cut.
This is not making it.
If we're up to Mike. This ain't making it. Okay.
No, this will make it.
Yeah. Hey, Mike should be working for the NFL. No fun league. So, right.
He's gonna love this. Should we share that fun moment from last week?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, I want to get into the race, but this was funny.
Yes.
Let's listen.
Actually, I have a clip so we can listen back to it.
Just a second.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
What in the hell? That is so... What kind of accent is that? Riach. The person you're trying to reach.
I feel like Mike has turned his phone in. He's got him a damn flip phone.
It's a jitterbug.
Damn.
You remember those?
Mike said, he don't trust new technology anymore. Mike has got an old Nextel button masher.
With the chirp.
Beep, beep.
Yeah.
Riach. You cannot riach me. Oh my God. I mean, that wasn't his voicemail at least a couple weeks ago. What in the hell has happened?
He definitely changed it. Like
Mike ain't paid his bills. I think that Mike didn't pay his cell phone service, and I had dropped down to like a lower tier service. And that's sort of you don't even get to put in your own voicemail. No custom voicemails here. You didn't pay for that, sir. That's 30 cents a month.
I think 30 cents. It's not worth it.
Not doing it. I refuse, said Mike Davis.
That's funny. So we'll see. we were gonna. That was at the top of the show last week. Mike,
yeah,
and we did.
It was before. That was before the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. God almighty, that's funny. Riach. I mean, he is not here today. Hopefully, this can get out to the folks, to find folks.
We just got to move quick.
That listen to us. They deserve that. They do.
Yeah, he's doing good things up in
Mike's
DC.
out of office
talking about Dirty Mo Media, and we're back here.
Yeah,
putting
he's
stuff
out
together.
of office. There's no chance of riaching him today.
He's out of Riach.
He's out of riach.
It's never gonna get old. And now we're doing it every time in the office, just in general conversation.
Yeah.
Anytime we can work that in.
It came up like 10 times last week after this.
Yes.
It's a part of our regular vocabulary.
If you see Mike Davis out in the wild, try to work that riach. That's how he pronounces the word reach.
How he pronounces it.
If anyone knows what preset that is,
yes,
we all need to change ours to
I
that.
know, we do. All right.
Riach.
Let's get to it, man. Michigan. The race had a lot going on. Reddick wins in overtime. A late yellow, Truex gets into the fence. There was debate around that caution, whether it was necessary. Reddick had a reaction inside the car, cussing. Couldn't believe it. God, I do not miss that feeling. You're sitting there, you're busting your ass. Run all day long, 500 laps or whatever, 400 laps at Dover, just busting your ass, sitting there with a decent finish in your hands, and some stupid yellow comes out with 10 laps to go, or some dummy can't get to the finish, or like a legit yellow comes out, or NASCAR throws something rather ridiculous. And it's happened over the years. But this one with Truex was on the borderline for me. I know there was, if I was driving the car leading the race, hell yes, I have the same reaction as Reddick. And maybe even, running in the top 10 or the top 5, I might have the same reaction, like, what the hell? But, that one to me, I'm not going to drag it out and debate it too much. Truex gets loose, goes up and hits the wall. I was looking at a lot of social media content and other people in the industry's comments about it. A lot of people will look back in the middle of the race where the two-car Cindric gets exactly the same situation and they don't throw the yellow, right? I thought about this. Someone made a great point. So we could sit here and we have in the past and go, what the F? You don't throw it for the 2 and you do throw it for the 19 and it's because it's late and you want that last restart and you want the drama and you manufacturing and manipulating, you could get all kinds of pissed off at NASCAR. But there's also the idea that maybe nobody was watching Cindric's ass running back there wherever he was at, right? Where was he running? Even if he's running 12th, 15th, 10th, 20th, I don't know where he's running, but maybe they ain't even looking over there.
Like he's not the focus.
Yeah, and chances are there was maybe quite a few eyes on Truex or around. There was a battle happening right there for a late, with Kyle Busch trying to hold position and other cars trying to figure out how to move forward around. They were racing really hard there around that top 5, or the backside of the top 5. So good chance that NASCAR and a lot of eyeballs are paying close attention to that, right? And so maybe that's why there's a difference between the reaction to those two incidents. Just saying. I wish they hadn't thrown the yellow because it wasn't probably that necessary. Kenny Wallace said they won't throw a yellow unless they see debris, but I didn't see if the 19 dropped anything on the racetrack. It's unlikely, but it's possible. He hit the wall hard enough for a yellow, but in my eyes, the way I look at this thing is I'm trying to get the race. I'm trying to get to the checkered. If I'm the industry, right? I don't want to say it. I don't want to say if I'm in the booth doing all that, right? Making the choices. But literally, I guess that's what I'm saying. If I was in the booth, I would be like, oh no, that ain't, keep them going. Don't throw the yellow. No. The race is, we're almost to the finish. That's, if we can avoid the yellow, that's my mentality in my mind. I'm thinking though that for TV, they can deny it if they want, but for TV, for the promoter, track owner, and possibly for NASCAR, they're thinking, oh hell yeah, late race restart, drama, yeah, we're trying to, our audience is building all the way through the race, right? So right at there in the last 10 laps, you've got the largest audience. You've got the most people paying attention to what you're doing. And can you give them something exciting while they're all at the ice cream truck? Can you give them the best flavor? Have them coming back next week? So, am I making sense?
Yeah.
So I can see that being the case, but in my mind, and maybe if I got up there and drank the Kool-Aid, I would be like them. If I get up, I'm in the broadcast, I'm in the network world. I ain't changed. I've been doing it 7-8 years. I ain't really. My mentality about it's still the same. If I'm in that booth, I'm like, I got my hands up in there to my team going, don't hit the button. Don't hit it. Let's almost over. Not, all right, man, if you see anything nefarious, you hit that button, right? Am I making sense?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was just so quick, too.
Yeah. Oh, it's so fast.
It was just like he hit the wall, bam.
I know. That's
is
what makes...
Is that what maybe startles you?
That
like
is...
enough to like, oh, like, gotta hit the button.
No.
You know?
No. That, to me, sounds like, I mean, if the quickness of it is the only concerning part. I think if Truex goes up there, slaps the wall, he smacked the hell out of that wall, and then kind of comes down, and then the yellow comes out, you're kind of like, okay, they must have seen something trailing off the car, or there's something they're worried about that warrants this yellow. But it's so fast, it's almost like they're looking for someone to be out of control. They're looking for they need hardly, it's kind of like
the excuse.
They almost. Don't, yeah, it's like, man, don't give me an excuse to party. They don't need an excuse. They don't need much of an excuse.
Late race yellow.
Yes. It's kind of got that vibe to it.
Well, I think that makes the point of the Cindric versus the Truex caution is it's like in the middle and earlier in the race, they're not hovering over the button, I don't think. They're just kind of letting the race play out. But in those last couple laps, the tension is so high, I think they're just hovering over the button.
Yes. And that's human nature.
Of course.
I'm not going to get too hard on them, but dang. I mean, what would have been the harm in letting the finish happen, letting it just go?
It wouldn't have been as fun.
Right.
But what about when Bowman made contact with the wall in the backstretch in that overtime? That was it was a pretty hard lick too, and he was in front of the whole field. They didn't call caution for that.
Oh man.
So
he did.
Yeah. I don't know that that's that different.
No.
It's about the same dramatic reduction in speed, right?
And he's in front of the entire field on the backstretch, whereas Truex went up in the corner kind of by himself.
Truex didn't even have anyone behind him?
I mean, maybe,
really?
But it's one
enough
or two
to get down
versus,
if you really had a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
These are all good points. It's interesting, man. I don't remember, if I could sit here and say, yeah, man, this was happening in the 90s. This was happening in the 80s. And I know I know there's a lot of people that like hate for you to compare anything to the past. They're like, let it go, get over it, get me out. The things are different. But I like the 80s. I like the 90s. I like what was happening. I like the way the sport was. I like the decision making, right? And I like the flow of an event from that time. I'm not just hard-headed as nostalgic. I actually liked the way the races flowed and how they were called and officiated. And so I prefer that. And I think that it's a little different these days. And it feels like it changes depending on the time of the race, the time in the race. To you could say, yeah, they don't throw the yellow for certain things, but then, man, if anything gets out of line in those last 5 laps, it's like, oh man, they're high chance of a yellow. So that stirred all that back up. But again, Truex hit the wall hard enough. I wouldn't sit there and die on that hill, that they shouldn't have thrown the yellow. Not down on that hill, not in that instance. But sometimes we know there's been some instances where there was very little going on and the yellow come out. So that was a little bit of a storyline. Then Corey LaJoie's flip. A lot of conversation around this on social media. And I jumped in there. Kenny Wallace, a good friend of mine, was quick to, as he always is, quick to give his opinion on, why that car flipped. Obviously, he put some photos on Twitter of the bottom of the 7 car while it's in the air, and everybody can make sense of this. It's not hard. That the car, the cars these days have a flat pan, and they get up in the air because of that, that flat pan underneath. But we had an Xfinity car flip as well on the back straightaway. A little different circumstances, but also we had cars getting up in the air no matter what style of race car it was. Meteorologists or someone, Jeff Gluck was retweeting on social media, was talking about the wind direction. It was high winds, 20 mile an hour, 15 to 20 mile an hour winds with gusts of 25 to 30 mile an hour. Very in in the direction that it would definitely affect these cars going down the back straightaway, getting turned around in this instance. People have talked about how, giant airlines are, full of fuel and, thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds getting up off the ground at 130 miles an hour or whatever. I know we land at 100 and probably 1,519 miles an hour, and our takeoff speeds probably are similar, a little faster. And so you got a race car that gets turned around going 200 miles an hour or 180 miles an hour that's way lighter. I think the whole point of all of this is that, and what I said on social media was that cars have been flipping in NASCAR since the beginning, and it's a unpleasant consequence of going fast. And if we and I had a fan react to that, in which I liked his comment. See if I can find it. He said basically, yeah, if we all complain about it, NASCAR is going to make a decision that none of us are going to like. Hey, everybody, don't complain, or NASCAR will make changes you won't like at all. And so that's the thing. Be careful what you wish for. Denny Hamlin even said on his podcast, in comments post-race, he'd rather flip than hit the wall in this car, right? And which that makes perfect sense to me. I've flipped a race car. Yes, flips can get violent. Yes, people have been injured. Yes, people have been killed in cars that get airborne. But the potential for that violent, hard land, or that the violent impacts and G-forces that you tend to feel in wall contact, that the potential is a little bit less, I think, in a flip. And so as disorienting and, again, unpleasant as getting airborne is, it's scary, and it should be. And it would be scary to anybody who's never been in a race car to think about it, right? To imagine it. Heading toward a wall, knowing you're going to hit it at 150 miles an hour is more terrifying, and always going to be. And so, I think that, you look at the impact Weatherman had in the Xfinity race with the right front tire blew. Nasty hit. Now that's where we always, I think, need to be working to improve. The car's crushability, the car's ability to absorb those kind of impacts. And when we worked on the next-gen car was developed. We know now that that car lost a lot of its ability to absorb, a lot of its crushability, and NASCAR's work now to reverse that and get that car to absorb some of the impacts better. But Denny still says, and as he probably would and will for the rest of his life, he would probably rather get airborne and do a little, do some barrel rolls than hit the wall at any angle at over 130, 150 miles an hour. So, anyways, I know that I'll try to articulate this without putting myself in a bad spot, but when Priest flipped at Daytona. So, Priest flips at Daytona, and yes, it was violent. Yes, it was eye-catching and very profound. But, I had seen that many, many times in my life. Rusty Wallace multiple times in his career. Ricky Rudd in the 15 is a historic flip at Daytona. I've had one on the back straightaway in the Hellman's car, I think, down the back straightaway at Daytona. Violent flips, Tony Stewart down the back straightaway at Daytona in the 2001 Daytona 500, I believe. There's just been a lot of those that have happened, and when Priest wrecks, everybody, I was really kind of surprised at everybody's else's reaction, as I am a bit to the 7 car flipping. They're like, whoa, wait a minute now. That ain't supposed to happen. And I'm like, when is that not supposed to happen? That's always happened. I don't care how many flaps and wings and whatever the hell you got going on, hatches. I don't give a damn. When those cars are going that fast and they get in a precarious scenario or situation, there's potential for it to flip and get airborne. It's going to happen no matter how much engineering you try to put into the car. And so I wasn't that shocked by what happened to Preece. It was those flips that Preece experienced were very quick rotations. That's dangerous for a driver, mentally, brain. That's dangerous for the body. But I'd seen it before, and I wasn't. I was, you're always a bit wowed when you see a car flip because it's so, it is so unusual. But it's not that. It's just it's going to happen. It's just what we're going to have happen from time to time, and I don't know that. Will it get a big reaction from NASCAR? Will they feel like they've got to, get back in the control room and get back to work and developing some way to figure out how to fix it? I don't know if they will. Will they just go, hey man, that's a product of our sport? I don't know if they'll do that. But I wasn't too distressed.
I don't think NASCAR needs to overreact to this. Yeah. I didn't think Corey's flip was that egregious. I think Ryan Preece's was pretty damn egregious. It was a big flip.
There's not really good footage of this wreck, but Dick Brooks flips down the back straightaway at Talladega, I believe in 1976, and there's not really good footage of it. But it's old Ford Mercury or some type of Ford that he was driving, Junie Donleavy's car, and as the car's flipping, the mud and dirt is flying, the parts and pieces, things are coming off the car, being slung off the car into the air, reminiscent of Darrell Waltrip's flip down the back straightaway in the Western Auto car at Daytona, which was pretty violent. And there's I believe, one of the top 3 or top 5 most iconic photos ever taken of our sport is Dick Brooks being helped out of the front windshield of that race car as it's sitting in the back straightaway dirt. It's amazing, this picture. He is okay. He gets out of the car. The car doesn't look like, looking at the car and thinking about how archaic the safety measures were to the cars back then and looking at the roof crushed down on the left side, it doesn't look like it's something that he should have been able to get out of under his own power. But these guys, these just nondescript civilians are just helping him out of this car covered in dirt. And it's just it's a very powerful photo. And every time that I see one of our cars today with all of our safety measures get upside down, I think about that wreck. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I'm drawn to that wreck, and I'm thinking I'm not worried when our guys get upside down, because I know Dick Brooks survived this without any of the things that we have in place today. And I'm more, again, when a guy like Weatherman, when the wreck like Weatherman happens, I'm more worried about that, and I'm more likely to want to know how that driver is on Monday morning. And that's the one that I know can get you. And so, I think maybe I'm even making a little bit too much out of this thing, but it was and it's Michigan, where we run, we're used to seeing these type of wrecks at Daytona and Talladega, but they don't run as fast there. We're running over 200 miles an hour, 209, I think, at one point, was registered on the car too. I remember when we were racing there, when they repaved it in 2012-ish, we were doing 218 into turn 1, averaging 204 a lap.
Yeah.
Flying.
So it's like we're almost going faster at Michigan.
We are.
Oh yeah,
not almost.
Yeah,
you are. And so now Michigan is one of, if not the fastest racetrack, and hopefully they don't put plates on them. They don't try to do things that are going to hurt, the style of racing there, which I don't know. They did that to the Xfinity Series. It turned out to be an okay race either way. I know I'm biased to 7 wins, whatever. We're very happy here at Junior Motorsports about that. But the race itself, when they dropped the green flag and they all jumped in the top line, nose to tail, and everybody was scared to go low because they were going to get trained, that sucked. And so I don't like that. But when the tires started to wear, guys were sliding around, racing started to happen. But I would be worried if I hope NASCAR doesn't think that they need to go look at the package and what are we going to do? We got to slow them down in Michigan.
Last question I have about this LaJoie flip. You were explaining like the next-gen car and the rocker almost assisting in that flip. Like, could you just
I will
explain that?
Yeah,
here?
So Kenny Wallace and a lot of people noted the bottom of the car being flat. One things that I noticed when the next-gen car was unveiled was if you look at the rocker box on the next-gen car, which is at the bottom at the bottom of the door, there's a radius to that. If you go all the way back to the mid-'90s and look at the rocker panel or the doors of Cup cars, they had a big giant roll to them, a big radius all the way to the frame rail. And it was round, and air just went right under there. When the car got sideways, air either went right under the car or over it, and literally that was creating a ton of lift, and the cars would get upside down pretty easy. And then when I just coincidentally, when I began racing in at least the Busch Series, I'm not sure when the Cup Series started doing this, maybe the year before in 97, immediately rocker panels changed entirely. The doors of the cars were completely straight down to a 90-degree rocker that went right under the car to the frame rail, and we started adding skirts to get even closer to the ground. And that, to an extent, lessened the ability for air to climb under the car or be invited under the car. And rockers have been that way ever since until the next gen car. So the next gen car comes out and they unveil it, and I look at the rocker box because I noticed that they weren't painted. And NASCAR manufacturers, not NASCAR, sorry, manufacturers had claimed the rocker panel as an identity mark, and no teams were allowed to paint them, which is so infuriating. And so you'll notice some of the teams that worry less about manufacturer support paint the out of their rocker boxes.
Hell yeah.
We love those. Thank you. Yes. And so that rocker box has a radius. It's tight. It's not as aggressive as what you might have seen on our Cup cars in 1996 or 95, but it's not as hard of a 90-degree cut, right, or a break. And so I wonder if that rocker box at the bottom having that small radius is inviting air underneath the car. Even when it's really close to the ground, is that allowing air? Is that like, hey, come on, air, come on under here? And so also I was noticing that as you get toward the rear tires, that rocker box kind of ramps upward and away from the ground. And so, there's just some little small characteristics like that I noticed that may, if there's physical things that NASCAR would want to do, I hope that they don't change power and drag and downforce. Don't put giant-ass spoilers on them. Don't choke the motor down. Don't do that. But if there's a physical, technical part or piece on the body, instead of just turning the roof into a giant flap, that they could look at that rocker box radius and maybe there's nothing there. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but they could look at it and say, hey man, maybe if that was a 90-degree hard, brake right there and a flat surface, it's less inviting for air to roll underneath it like a wing on an airplane, right? That was the only thing that I would have brought up that I would say, okay, if we want to go change something, where could we look and find some gains? And maybe the rocker box that you race at Bristol isn't the same rocker box you race at Michigan, right?
Yeah, like
if you don't want the teams to have to spend all this money changing every single rocker box in the building, maybe you just add to the current rocker box. Maybe there's a piece that could be added there to make that a sharp edge, and maybe it makes less lift when the car's sideways, and maybe it doesn't. But that was the one thing I saw. And when you put that I always forget the name of this thing because we haven't had this in the sport for the entire time it's existed. The diffuser.
Yeah.
So when you put the diffuser underneath the car, and forget the hatch that opens up, right? When the roof hatch opens, there's this hatch at the back of the car that pops open. But when you look at a diffuser and you think about a NASCAR Cup car with a diffuser on it going 180 mile an hour backwards, does it not look like it should just fly into the freaking air?
Yeah. It's got all this arrow going the wrong way.
It's opposite of, How is that not going to make lift?
Yeah, it looks like it will.
Right? So, I don't know. I mean, I think that they would have to go to such drastic measures in other areas to fix this, to really, truly, truly fix it, and it will likely be a detriment to the product on the racetrack.
But why are we like, if Cup drivers are coming out and saying like, look, flips happen, but they're not that bad. Why are we that worried about it? We
don't know what NASCAR's reaction is going to be to it.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
We're anticipating something because we're nervous that NASCAR's going to do something.
They've happened in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. Yeah. Now it's like, why overreact to it? It happens.
Well, maybe they won't.
I'm hoping that they don't. That's what I'm getting at with your point here is that, like, let's just see it for what it is. It's a wreck. Let's move on.
Another big debate about this racetrack or this past weekend, again, is we had a little weather. The start time debate always fires up anytime there's any kind of a weather issue. And here's for fans, for the most part, I believe, understand all of the parameters that are involved here and why things are the way they are. But to break it down really quickly, it's not possible for me to do anything quickly. But for me to break it down, the start times are not chosen by NASCAR. Quit with the NASCAR bunch of quit with that. Quit that. I give NASCAR a hard time when I feel like they deserve it, but they don't deserve the credit for this. The start times are predicted by and chosen by networks. And they influence that mostly, and they know what the hell they're doing. They want to put this race where they feel like it'll get the best number. That's as simple as it is. It's not a NASCAR choice. NASCAR and the networks pay enough money to have the right and authority over NASCAR when to put the race on. That's just the way it is. When the sport was so small that our TV deals were minimal, we put the races where we want. But the TV came in and said, we're going to give you this giant pile of money, but you got to let us put the races on when we want them. And anyone who's listening right now would take that giant pile of money and say, you got it, buddy. 3 o'clock. Love it. Yeah. We'll be ready. Yeah. And so that's kind of how this all works. And, NASCAR has to, if there's a little weather coming, NASCAR has to really arm wrestle to get the race pushed up 10, 20 minutes. It ain't like this super easy thing. And people are like, well, they could have, they knew it wasn't going to rain. They should have did this and so, they did move the All-Star race, or not the All-Star race. Clash. They did move the Clash. Mm-hmm. But I think that the Clash was such a disaster anyways that nobody cared. It certainly didn't. I mean, It wasn't a big deal. But, this is kind of a situation where you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Now that the TV deals are as large as they are, the networks are going to want to try to maximize their advertising dollars and get all of that money back and then some. And so they need to put these races where they feel like they'll get the best number. And they would avoid competing against any show that's going to have a large audience. So they don't want to go up against the NFL at 1 o'clock. I understand that. I don't love it. I don't like it. And I don't care. I think we ought to be like, if it ain't, I can't, if I were in control of NASCAR, nothing would change because I don't have the authority to change this. The networks do. I'm of the idea that, yes, your numbers are better at 3 o'clock. All right? And there's short-term gain there. But I believe over the course of a decade or 2 decades that it sours on people. We hear this, we hear this conversation about the start times come up every time. Now, is this group of people, myself included, that are complaining about the start times big enough to matter? Does
TV even care?
I don't know, but I don't think that's the question. I think are the people, myself included, that are making noise about this a large enough group or piece of the pie to really make any change or affect change, right? Maybe, there's a lot of noise about it, but maybe it's not, maybe it's 10, 20,000 people that are complaining about it. I don't know.
I think it's more than that.
You think it's more than that?
Definitely. But
so if it's enough to make a difference, that's what I think is possible, right? Short-term gain, putting the race at 3 o'clock, good TV number, TV's happy, NASCAR looks at the TV number, we're happy. Then you go through a decade or two of the constant threat of rain and the complaining and the souring of the start times. And start times the start time is becoming less and less popular, less and less liked, more and more frustration. And so the long term, I think, is bad, detrimental. And so, and I also think, why not go up against the NFL? I mean, it ain't about us against them. It's just like, why are we avoiding the big guy?
Because you lose viewers, don't you think? There's going to be some casual NASCAR fans who, if I have to choose.
We can't ever gain those viewers if we don't go battle.
What if they can watch both, though?
Well, they can. I mean, they can this day and age. But I've always felt like, why are we running? Why are we running away from that? Why don't NASCAR to me is number one. NASCAR to me is the best thing going. NASCAR to me can start at 1 freaking o'clock if it wants to. NASCAR don't have to settle for 3 because that's a better time slot when we all know 1 o'clock is the best time slot. The NFL is sitting on 1 o'clock because it's great. NFL ain't starting at 3 because it's better. They start at 1 because that's better. Right? And so...
And they don't even prioritize 1 o'clock. It's the 8 o'clock game that's the big game of the week. So it's I mean, and you got a point with like people stream multiple things now. Yeah. Like I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm gonna watch Dolphins games and NASCAR races at the same time.
I just don't like the idea that we're settling. It feels like we settle, or it feels like we're having to maneuver. Because of the bigger thing in the room, right? Or like we're not the bigger name on the line. Yeah, we'll take the next call, or
like we're like the undercard.
We're on the way. Yeah, we're the under. Yes. Yeah. That's the vibe I get.
But I mean, I get it. Why? I sort of get it.
I do too.
So I think if you're going to act like and portray and be the underdog, you'll always be the underdog, and people are going to see you as the underdog. In my mind, and listen, this is probably why I don't need to be running this is because I'd be so hard-headed and like, no, man, I ain't moving over. This is my space, and this is where I want to be, and I'm going to put my race on at this time. And I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care what the stats say. I don't care. And my viewership number would likely be less, but I feel like over the long game, I would be better off. And I felt like when we started maneuvering and playing the undercard, then we settle to be the undercard forever.
I think you got to go, where the best shot is for you.
Yeah. And
it's unfortunate. But my question is, like, this whole conversation started because of rain, right? I think if it didn't rain, most people would be like, 30-30, whatever. Yeah. So let me ask you this. What do you think is a better TV rating? 1 p.m. on a Sunday or 11 o'clock on a Monday?
I mean, Sunday.
Right. So why not move the race up? Like, I don't
right now we're not competing against the NFL. And also,
you're going against the NFL, whether you start at 3:30, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock. There's NFL games on all day Sunday.
So why not move it up and get the whole race in on Sunday instead of waiting? Now you're putting up against the clock. You're waiting for rain.
Well, if you really want to get into the weeds, then you're cutting into NBC also has Premier League coverage, which is what was on before NASCAR.
Yeah, talk about the
like
undercard.
NBC. I know.
Those are the free fights again. You have to pay for that.
Exactly.
But it's like if NBC doesn't want to compete against itself, you can have both.
I get that, but like you're sacrificing. Like, I guarantee you, a minimal margin of people watched the race yesterday because it was at 11 o'clock on a Monday. Versus start it early. I know it's not ideal. I know there's logistics out the ass to try and get that to happen, but. Start it early. Start it at 1 o'clock when you know there's a threat of rain.
I'm of the camp, and I saw this on Twitter. It might be a less popular take, but I'm just, as long as the start times are consistent and I can just always bank on, like, if I know it's going to be a 2 to 3:30 window every weekend, I can plan my Sunday around it. Yeah. Like, there's not a whole lot of thinking.
I agree with that.
And I think that long-term will keep your viewers, because if you're routine, if you're conditioned to watching at the same time, that's going to help.
You're 100% correct, Andrew. The problem for me, though, is that how long have we had these 3-ish o'clock starts? A long time. They've been around a while, right? And I still am not. I'm still ain't programmed. I mean, if I'm not programmed, I'm plugged into this. This is my life, and I'm not freaking programmed. Like, I'm not like, oh yeah, man, I know when the race starts. I don't got a freaking clue. I've got to always go look on my phone or look on the NASCAR app to see what time the race is going to start, because I don't know. And so maybe this is not true, but I felt like that when I was growing up, 1 o'clock was when the race started.
Because NFL, when they start 1 o'clock. MLB, where their day games start 1 o'clock on East Coast time.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be that bad of a damn time.
I don't get why for NASCAR 3:30 is great, but for NFL and MLB 1 o'clock's great. Or NBA, I don't understand it. NHL, they all start at 1 o'clock or 7 o'clock.
And I wonder if they flip to 1, how much of the number would change. How much if they're watching? How many people are watching a Cup race these days? 2.5 million.
Yeah, that's about average. Yeah.
And so, would we go to 1.8? I mean, would we drop significantly, or would it drop 0.2?
But wouldn't a team, like, aren't they trying to get even if it is 0.2?
Yes, they are. They are. So, but I believe that the 0.2 that you gain today, we're getting so many people pissed off that they're almost like, F it. If I've got to look it up and I've got to learn when it is or where it is, I'll just not do it. I don't, they'll do something else with their time. They're getting, a little annoyed, I guess, by the late start times and especially at racetracks without lights, and there's no hope once there's a long delay of getting the race started, because if they can't finish it, they can't start it. NASCAR's got that rule, right, where if they don't feel like they can get the race completed within the time they have, they can't even begin the race. And so I don't know. But are you going to start this one at 1 and next week go back to 3 and then 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 7, 7, 1, 1? What the It's just confusing as heck. But this has been going on for a while. I don't see a solution. And I know why the networks do it. I know why NASCAR doesn't get in the middle of it. And I know why fans are frustrated. But I feel like I can't prove it. And so it won't matter. But I feel like the short-term game won't overcome the long-term detriment and loss in loyal fans.
I think if you like noon starts, move to the West Coast.
I'm talking about like the long-term being 10, 20 years. Hey, everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit about safety culture. You may know Safety Culture's logo from Shane Van Gisbergen's car, but Safety Culture is more than just a sponsor. It's also the workplace operations tool for the Trackhouse Racing team. And what does that actually mean? Well, the team uses Safety Culture's app to manage everything from pre-race inspections on the car to assembly checks, and they even do some of their training on the app. Every race team has an incredible amount of individuals that maybe don't even travel to the racetrack, work back at the shop, that are a big part of the success of that race team, preparing cars, getting them ready to go to the racetrack and run these races and try to win checkered flags and ultimately championships. No matter what you're trying to achieve, no one has time to waste. From construction sites to factory floors, Safety Culture is designed to drive improvements not just in safety, but broadly across quality and efficiency too. Are you ready to put your workplace in the pole position? Well, head to safetyculture.com/SVG. I guess, Ross Chastain had a reasonably good. If anybody should be angry about that late yellow, it should be Ross, right?
Because he got spun.
You could say, that would. I mean, obviously, it would not have happened had the yellow not come out. But that's more. I think that's more frustrating for me as a driver, and I'd love to hear this from other guys. If I'm Reddick, who's madder, right? Ross Chastain, who was going to finish where?
He was having a decent run.
Better.
Right? 12th or better, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
And then he finishes a lap down 20-something, 6 or whatever. Who's madder, him about the yellow or Tyler Reddick if he gets beat by the 24? Now your
Reddick,
ego and your pride is going to tell you to answer Reddick right now.
That's
my
gut.
That's the win.
That's the short term, though. The long term, I think Ross is more mad.
Yeah.
He's going to carry that into next week.
I mean, long term, if you point to Michigan as the reason you didn't make the playoffs, then
there's a chunk of points right there.
Yeah.
Reddick, while he would be ticked off that he didn't win the race, he's going into a competition meeting on Tuesday with his team going, man, we had a good day. If that thing wasn't, they're smiling. Ross is not going to his competition smiling.
Yeah.
He's not smiling for the rest of the week.
Although a late race caution did end up saving him the week before with Richmond because Austin Dillon was going to knock him out of the playoffs.
But he's not going to remember that.
Nope.
It's pretty interesting between Ross and Bubba. There's 1 point for that final 16th position. Kyle Busch looked like he was in position to have a shot at winning the race, but the two tires strategy just didn't provide enough speed in the number 8 car, but they're running better. 2 great runs for the past 2 weeks for RCR. Have they found something? Have they found enough to be able to get them to victory lane? They have been really good at Daytona. And so I would watch out.
Do you think Daytona is as chaotic this year without it being the cutoff race?
You noted that.
Yep.
So if they go to when they go to Daytona, if you're wanting to be entertained, keep your eye on the 8 car of Kyle Busch. This dude's going to be hell-bent, risk it all. Maybe you won't see him do anything in the first 2 stages. Don't be alarmed. There's no reason for him to be racing for stage points. He's 93 points from the cut line. He's not going to point his way in. They're probably going to be taking care of that car as well as they can. And then in stage 3, you're going to see Kyle Busch doing everything he freaking possibly can. One of the best in the sport. One of the most talented drivers, and he'll be in a car that's going to be pushing the limits. You better believe that this 8 car that they're prepping for Kyle Busch is going to have all the bells and whistles and then some. They're not going to leave nothing on the table. So that'll be pretty interesting to see how that goes.
Do we have to mentally prepare ourselves for that's the type of race we're going to get, like stages 1 and 2? Like, all right, might not be the most exciting thing in the world. People are going to all save their stuff for the end.
I think there'll be people that need stage points and have to race for them. Bubba Wallace, I think, in this scenario is probably going to go out there and say,
race hard.
And I believe what he did in the past, same situation for Bubba in the past, I believe his approach was, I'm going to go race hard and get stage points and put the other car – like Ross Chain, put the pressure on Ross Chastain. What did I say? Ross Chain.
Ross Chain.
Yeah. New nickname.
Yeah, it is.
Ross
Chain Chastain.
I believe Bubba will go try to put the pressure on him and say, hey, I'm going to race. Only way I know how to race here, and that's try to go to the front and get stage points. And if he can, think about it. If he gets 12 or so or 15, if he gets a good little cushion on stage points, the pressure's on Ross at the end of that race. Chris Buescher, I don't know what he does.
Plus 16,
can he afford to sit in the back, allowing Ross or Bubba to gain a half dozen points or a dozen points on him?
That's a tough spot because you cannot wreck your car.
You can't wreck, then you're really done.
Can't fall behind either.
Yeah, he's in a tough spot. You'd think being 16 to the good you'd be happy.
I would think you almost race as desperate as Chastain and Bubba, right?
If I'm Chris Buescher, I might be even more nervous than Ross and Bubba.
Because you almost have more to lose.
Yes, they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. He won Daytona last year, and he probably should have won Darlington earlier in the year.
So I love going,
I'm confident in him.
You're confident.
Good
All
point,
right.
Tim's.
Ty Gibbs is plus 39, so he's fine. He can crash out, I think, still be fine.
He ran good at Darlington, too, so 54's.
There was a moment yesterday where
they're
I thought
going to Daytona.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I'm looking ahead.
Oh, wow. Oh, you guys are
really, to your point, Dale.
You're looking ahead.
He's already considering Daytona crapshoot.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. And also we have to remember the threat of anybody. You have everyone below the cut line that's in the same boat as Kyle Busch, right? That they can go out there and steal a win and leap into the playoffs. Bowman Gray, the Clash was announced that it'll be going there. And so there's been some schedule leaks that we've been seeing as well on the line. We want to talk about that a little bit. But Bowman Gray, are you guys excited about that? One of the things, so I think I'm going to forgive NASCAR for taking the Bowman Gray Clash out to the West Coast for a couple years.
The Bowman Gray Clash.
Yeah.
We loaned it out there.
We did.
For a little bit.
When they were talking about doing a race inside the LA Coliseum, I'm like, what? I mean, a lot of people like myself were like, well, you got it here, do it here. You already got the built-in.
It's cheaper.
You've already got every ticket sold.
Yeah.
You could make this insane, right? And it's right here in our backyard. We love racing in our backyard. Easy for the teams and families, and so they, but it's okay. It finally got here. And I'm excited about it. I see some fans chirping, especially after NASCAR dumps the penalty on Dillon midweek.
Same week announces.
I know fans are like, "Oh, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna find this guy, penalize this guy, but you're basically taking the race to this racetrack where all of that's gonna happen. You're setting yourself up for failure, NASCAR, because you're gonna have to, dole out your penalties for the Clash, but." Maybe you will, maybe you won't.
Exhibition race, though.
People,
who cares?
You know what's going to happen? And this has also been a little bit annoying, but amusing at the same time. Someone will get dumped at the Clash at Bowman Gray. Someone will get moved and possibly spun out. And the winner will not get penalized for it.
What are they going to do? Take their playoff away? Like, you don't even get qualified for playoffs there.
I know, but they won't even blink at penalizing somebody. I'm going to tell you, if you want to spin one car out, that's perfectly fine. And that's never been a problem.
It's fine.
I think it's when you do two. I think it's when you go when you go for the twofer.
Yeah, it was
the BOGO deal.
When you get the combo,
it was the combo punch that took him out. Yeah,
you can't wreck two. You can wreck one.
Yeah,
there's no buy
you
one.
can't
get
throw the
one.
left
So
and the right. You
if
just
third
keep
place
that.
dives down into the grass at Bowman Gray and wipes out first and second, that guy might not get the trophy.
Only if you wipe out first.
I mean, I'd love to see
second.
it, but just you won't win.
But you're okay if you just wreck one car.
Right, that's what I'm saying. First or second.
Everybody should be clear on that, right?
Yes. Okay.
We're all clear on that, right?
Definitely clear.
You can spin one car. You cannot wreck two cars.
It's like a little punch card.
I think
you
that's
get one.
been-
You get one car.
I think that's what I've learned.
At a time, though.
I think that's what I've learned, and I'm okay with that.
Per
I feel
corner.
like I felt that was my own
Limit.
values, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's aligned with NASCAR.
I
I
think
was like,
that-
I'm comfortable spinning one car. at a
Did
time.
we just find the line? Is the
That's
line
the line. One
crystal
car.
clear
Found the
now?
line. Yeah.
We
The
might
line
have
is
just
clear.
found the line.
Yeah.
We were trying to find the line last
we
week.
have put a line down, and there it is.
Yes, that's
Right.
the rule.
I'm glad we cleared that up for everyone.
We're gonna reference that as our own rule, even though that's not NASCAR's rules.
Does Dylan's appeal get turned over? I don't think there's a chance.
So Denny said on Actions Detrimental that there's a chance that whatever Dylan says that they might take the win away from him too. Like it could go the opposite.
That's
I mean, Denny didn't think it was likely, but he's like anything can happen in an appeal.
anything could happen, but anything could happen.
I don't think
We
the
hear your
appeal will
point.
get turned
We're
over.
taking
either.
your win again.
I think everything
You know what?
stays the way it
Filing
is.
this appeal was a mistake. You're no longer the winner.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens. That's funny from Denny.
Which, by the way, on that show, he explains the appeal process in even
Yeah.
more detail and
been through it.
from a year ago, and it's a great listen. So
Yeah.
go listen to that.
Well, listen. I think I was talking to some friends about this. I think that Austin and his team will put forth a great argument. I do. I don't think that they're wasting their time. I don't think that what they're going to bring to the table and show to the board is silly. I honestly feel like that they believe what they're going to tell them. Like Austin and his team, they believe. They're not sitting here with these stats going, "Yeah, look at this, man. This is fine." You know, they're not lying. They're not trying to be nefarious or anything like that. They truly believe that they didn't do this, and they believe that they've got the data to show. And so that's why I'm okay with them appealing, and I just don't believe that they'll win it. The one thing about this is it's such a judgment call of a ball. It's such a judgment call, whereas like in most appeals, it's a technical part, an inspection process, a flaw somewhere that a team has stumbled upon intentionally or unintentionally in the processes of technical inspection pre or post race. And so if you can come make an argument, and Junior Motorsports has won some appeals, that maybe they were illegal, but the processes of the sport were flawed. And so if in those cases the appeal board can be super effective because they can look at it from a completely non-biased point of view and go, yeah, y'all definitely got one through on NASCAR, but they got to fix this hole in the rule book. So NASCAR go write a new rule and give the team back their position. This is not that. This is basically trying to determine like a judgment call, and I just don't know how you get a panel to sit there and go, I don't really know how they can look at this and reverse it, because I don't think that there's any tangible, true evidence to it's kind of like this feels a lot like when the NFL has a replay review. Mm-hmm. They need like this really great evidence to overturn it. It's sometimes such a difficult decision.
Yeah, it's like definitive proof.
It's got to be definitive proof.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that there is any definitive proof in this.
Yeah.
It's just this person said this and this person said that, and who do you believe, right? There's no factual thing that I think that Dylan could put in front of them and go, "Oh, come on, y'all, it's obvious. I didn't, deserve to get penalized." I think that's how this is going to fall. How in the world would they be able to have definitive proof that he didn't intentionally do that?
Yeah, and backing up what you had to say there, the section in the rule book that they referenced, I'm just trying to find different ways to say it.
I love it.
Is 12.321B, which I will read out what it says. And it says race finishes must be unencumbered by violations of the NASCAR rules or other actions detrimental to stock car auto racing or NASCAR as determined in the sole discretion of NASCAR. So it's like, you can't point to the rule book and be like, yeah, that we didn't violate that. I mean, it's like
it's discretionary.
Kind of like NASCAR's like, we can choose what we want and want to penalize.
In the end, we are going to make the final decision.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I feel about that. We'll see how it goes. Speaking of leak schedules, there's been a couple different outlets where a NASCAR 2025 schedule has inadvertently popped up and then quickly been deleted.
Mm-hmm.
One of the kind of unknowns was the race in Mexico City. There was a chance that if the Mexico City didn't work out for whatever reason, NASCAR couldn't get the deal done, they would go to Canada. Well, it looks like Mexico City's going to happen. Iowa's still there, which is a surprise to me.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's going to make it another year.
It's amazing that you could read this, being that it's in Spanish.
Yeah.
You know what Daytona in Spanish is?
No.
Daytona.
Yeah. All right. This, I like it. You know, Miami, again, Homestead's going to be in the first third of the year. The idea or the rumor there is that they got moved to this particular part of the year, probably an unpreferable spot for them. But I think that it's going to end up, I'm just going to guess that it's going to end up as the finale again.
Hopefully.
One step back, two steps
maybe in
forward,
2026.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so maybe we'll see what happens.
Richmond loses a date.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate thing for Richmond, but we kind of saw the writing on the wall with the short track package being as crappy as it's been over the last handful of years since the next gen car come on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go easy on that. It's been terrible, atrocious. And so you can say what you want about Richmond, the racetrack, the facility, how they've performed in terms of modernizing comparable to other facilities, and what kind of draw it might be, but the lousy way that the short track package has been going for a while is the number one reason why that racetrack doesn't have two dates.
Yeah, I mean the mile and a half's are
kind of handcuffed
where our bread and butter is right now, which leads us to the playoffs.
Yeah, so see
what I did there?
Yeah, good job. Wilkesboro's still an all-star race. Can't wait to hopefully see a points race there. I'm ready for the all-star race to move somewhere else, and for Wilkesboro to get a 400 lapper or something like that. And
Easter break, officially off Easter for the Cup Series.
That's good.
Yes.
Darlington's moved up.
Chicago's still there, and Sonoma's moved into a different part of the year, which I think I'll be doing that. So Amy will be happy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not much else. The
playoffs look.
Yeah, the playoffs
St.
are wild.
Louis, New Hampshire.
How in the hell did St. Louis end up in the playoffs?
That's a great question.
Like what? I would love to know. I'm not saying
it's such a bizarre.
It is bizarre. It's fine. There's no like sort of you don't deserve this kind of vibe. It's just like, I wonder how that even happened. I didn't think it would have a chance at getting in the playoffs ever. No, not ever. But I didn't think it just still feels like it just got here in terms of the Cup Series, and now it's in the playoffs. And so I'm wondering what the reasoning was, what the reasons why.
And I want to say the teardown, I think, mentioned this way back when we were talking about it, but St. Louis is not NASCAR owned, and so NASCAR took one of their own tracks out of the playoffs. So does that mean they're looking to purchase St. Louis? Like that's what, at least, Bianchi and Gluck, I think they've got their eyes on.
And I know the IndyCar is racing at St. Louis, right, in June, I believe. So it's like they had to find another place for it, but I don't see why that couldn't have been Miami.
Yeah. The Charlotte Roval is still around, unfortunately.
Things hanging on.
Good.
Talladega and
there's a lot of people that love the Roval. I know I know that I'm in the smaller.
I ain't one of them.
I'm in the smaller group of folks that wish it was an oval race.
It's a cool fan experience if you're there.
Yeah.
You want to know what's a cool fan experience? The fall race
at
Charlotte, the oval. Like I've been so many times. That was my favorite. It was, but
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you there, but being in the infield at the Roval is a unique experience.
Yeah, people are freaked out about Talladega being in that second, the semifinals.
I mean, that qualifies you for the championship. Like,
what's wrong? Is Talladega some sort of a freaking fluky race?
It's a wild card. That's no doubt. It's a wild card race.
Why?
What do you mean why? Like, we're talking about Daytona. You might get a surprise winner. Anything can happen. Yeah. Like. But is that the qualifier?
The surprise winner won't matter at Talladega.
You're acting like Talladega just got built, and that the super speedway racing and drafting is like this new thing that just came on to that shouldn't be valued or ranked in the disciplines of short track racing and mile and a halves and all that stuff. Talladega's been around since '69. The racing there has been different from time to time, but for the most part, it's still all the kind of same, the same skill of drafting and maneuvering and doing what you can. I know that it's an 80% chance you're going to crash, and I know that there's a lot of fluke winners or the potential chance for a long shot winner, but I don't think that should. Again, I don't think that should scare the industry away from it being thrown right. Throw the drivers right into those difficult scenarios. Throw them into those moments where we want to see them panic. Do you want to? I don't want to make. I know what you're saying about it. It's more about integrity.
I love the drama of it. Yeah, I don't disagree there, but
you're worried about is it integral? Right?
Right.
Does it make it sort of gimmicky?
That's exactly
what would make you feel better if it was the first race in that leg? Does it change at all?
It seems like a round of 12 was a perfect home for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like the idea of having one of our
is the round grounds. Of 16 a bad place for it? Because
I think that's fine too.
I think anywhere.
Well, so.
Shut up, Tims.
So if you put it, the thing about it going into the round of 16 is that now you're at more. If you're so if it's about integrity and you've had one of the best seasons of anyone, right, all year. You go into the round of 16, you've got to beat 15 drivers in this round, and you've got a race that's such a,
you don't have to beat 15. You got to beat 12.
Well, you got to be 12, sorry. That's so if you're going into the round of 16, you got to beat 12. In the round of 8, you got to beat 4, right? Or
isn't the margin a lot smaller in the later round?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, so if I would be scared, I would be more nervous if Talladega was in the first round because there's a chance that 12 of those guys will outpoint the shit out of me if something bad happens to me at Talladega. And I'm in a worse spot. Now, in the round of 8,
then you get into the integrity thing, right? Then you get into the gimmicky.
But how so?
That's what my argument, I think, is round of 12 was perfect for it then.
Yeah.
I think it was fine. I don't have any problem with it. Huh. It doesn't bother me at all.
Now, listen, when we get to Talladega next year in 2025, round of 8, it's going to be exciting. There's no doubt about it. But
I don't feel like I will even know the difference than it being 12 or 8. Round of 12, round of 8. It's not going to feel different to me.
When someone locks into the championship 4 after Talladega.
But who? It's going to be the top of the top if they lock in. It's not, not to knock on Justin Haley, but he's not in the playoffs right now. Justin Haley isn't going to win in the round of 8 and get in if he's not in the playoffs. It's going to be one of the top 8. Like, I don't see, you have more of a chance with the 16 having if Austin Dillon was in there to win and then make it to the next round, then you do Denny Hamlin or Kyle Larson or whoever's probably going to be around in that 8.
Okay. I'm willing to be swayed here. I don't like any Talladega slander.
Watch your mouth, Andrew.
I'm not hating on Talladega.
I just don't think it deserves to be in the round of 8.
I'm slowly getting there now. I'm warming up to it. Give me like 10 more minutes.
Put that race in the regular season. How dare them put it in the playoffs?
Relegate that damn race. Yeah,
what the hell?
Sounds like a good.
You messing up my NASCAR.
I just like that one of our most hallowed grounds is a deciding factor in our playoffs, and I think that's the way it should be for all of the tracks in the playoffs. Yeah. I think Bristol is obviously in there, but
Sorry.
No, you're good.
That was rude.
No,
I just had a thought and
share it.
Just flew out of my mouth. So I will give you this, Andrew, about Talladega. The current package at that track is not good. They run, because Denny and I talk about this. He's like,
it's hard to pass.
He's like, you ought to come back and run Daytona. I'm like, I don't want to do that. He's like, you don't want to sit in line and ride for 400 miles?
Save gas.
What a convincing argument.
It's like driving down to Daytona.
Because if you get out of line, you don't go anywhere with this car. And so I watch it, and I'm like aggravated watching it. I do not. Now, I love broadcasting it because I can tell you what's happening. But if I'm sitting at home on my couch, I'm so frustrated watching it. Because I know that they would love to race, and they can't race. This package that they have at Talladega, and to an extent Daytona, doesn't allow them to do anything that they want to do and would choose to do. We had we had cars in the 2000s and the 2010s, man, that you could put things together, make things happen. And this car just, you get out of line with it, it's just a it's just a roadblock. And so I would say if they could fix the package at Talladega, you and I would be more
excited
about that.
That's all I want. Is for both of you guys to be on the same page.
And I'm sorry to complain more about the car or the package or how the car races, but I'm just
it's our reality.
I'm just stating what the hell the truth is.
That's a good point.
I mean, looking at the playoffs overall, do you wish there were more 1.5 miles?
No, I wish there were more short tracks.
But what you just said,
what?
I don't get excited about the short tracks right now, given our current package.
I know. Fix the package.
Okay.
Fix the package at Talladega. Fix the short track package. They're working on it.
Yeah.
They're working on a short track package. If Denny Hamlin said, "Hey, let's just run this red tire everywhere," I think Denny is right.
Secrets in Goodyear.
Oh yeah, the tire for the short track stuff is where the answer is, or where the biggest gains will be made.
Yeah.
I like Denny's idea about running the soft tire everywhere, but I almost want to see him try the soft tire as the. Let me see if I get this right. The primary, the
yellows.
Yes.
The reds become the yellows.
No. I want to try to learn this freaking new lingo we got. The
option.
I'm gonna confuse the F out of everybody listening. The prime car, the prime tire should be the red tire. Yeah. Are y'all following along? I'm sure you are.
Crystal clear.
I'm sure you are.
Different tire or just change the color?
I want it to be blue. Why can't it be blue?
Right.
So the soft tire should be the main tire, and they should try to even go another giant step softer.
Oh, as your secondary,
Yes.
as that's the new red.
Yeah, but it'd probably wear out in 10 laps.
Yellow is the new red.
And not be worth just to Denny's point, let's just run that red tire everywhere.
I'd be down with that.
Yeah. Phoenix.
Oh, dude.
Come
that
on.
would be unbelievable.
Yeah.
That would get me excited about Phoenix.
All right. As we mentioned in the Xfinity race, Justin Allgaier wins. Junior Motorsports, we entered 5 cars. We crashed 3. Just a tough day on that side of it.
What's that roller? That's got to be a weird feeling.
All right, so the race is over, and I want to go on Twitter or X and comment. I don't want to, when our car wins, I don't want people to go, damn, Junior didn't say
right.
So I'm going to go on there. Now, I'm going to go on there, and I want to go, damn right, Justin Allgaier, hell of a job, buddy. Woo, Junior Motorsports, all our employees. But I did have 3 cars crash, and they're not that damn happy about that. And so, you don't know how to respond because you don't want to alienate these 3 drivers that were swept up in these wrecks that didn't need to happen, right? The wrecks, they weren't really the ones that caused them. Parker Klingerman shoving the 45, wrecks the out of the 88 late in the race, and at least that's what I thought I saw. And so, you kind of it's weird. You don't know how to feel. So you go on there, and that's all I know to say is I don't know how to feel. I am happy. I'm mad. I'm sad.
You want me to read your tweet?
No, I just said it. It's pretty much the same thing I just did. We don't have to read it. But hey, we came here yesterday and we had a beer toast to be able to tell the employees how thankful we were and how we need to gear up for the playoffs. Justin's won a ton of stages this year, but hasn't been able to put the races together, and finally we were able to do it. We passed all them Joe Gibbs cars.
Hell yeah.
Whooped up on them Joe Gibbs cars.
Damn right.
They're the best. Their cars are so fast. They got great little drivers in there.
Little drivers.
And they do. Got great little drivers. But it's so rewarding when you beat teams like that because you know they're great.
You want to beat the best.
I'm trying my best to give them the compliment here. That has been the standard in the Xfinity Series for a long time. The Joe Gibbs cars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially back when Kyle was running a lot of races. My gosh. And so, Ty Gibbs was difficult to beat. They find speed that a lot of teams don't find, and it's tough to beat them. So it's very rewarding to have such a great day. This week's segment of Dirty Air was brought to you by Tire Pros. There are a few people who love cars as much as I do, but these tire and service experts equally love the drive. They offer a huge selection of brand name tires and full service repairs from oil changes to alignments to brakes. The Tire Pros gives your vehicle the TLC it deserves. Tire Pros is unique because each location is owned by men and women in your community, but with the added support of resources of over 600 locations worldwide. Almost got there. Next time you need to take your car in, show your neighbors some love, and take it to your local Tire Pros. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and they will get a free trial for 3 weeks of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/Dale to download America's #1 sportsbook. 21 plus and present in North Carolina, full price of NFL Sunday Ticket will be automatically charged seasonally after free trial. No refunds, terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. All right, we got the winner of yesterday's race, Tyler Reddick, calling in. And Tyler, where are you calling from?
I just stumbled my way into airspeed, but yeah, it was. We got to celebrate, man. A good bit at the house. Maybe I got to give my house a fancy name too. We got airspeed. I'm gonna have to come up with that. Maybe next time we'll chat, I'll have a name for you for my house. But
what's a race win party look like?
A lot of people. We just moved, and I needed to do some stuff to my previous house, and there was this house that my wife had been looking at for months and months and months, and it was still on the market, and I finally caved and went and looked at it, and that was my mistake. I fell in love with it. So we just moved. We just got married. We just won a race. So we had a lot going on, but it was the new house is a great spot to have a gathering. I don't think my neighbors understood what was probably going on last night. There was a bunch of cars filling up the neighborhoods. They were probably all pissed off about that, but hopefully they somewhat get used to it. But it was so nice being able to start the race at 11 o'clock like we did and get home. I can't remember the last time I landed. Gotten off the airplane, the sun was still up, so it gave us plenty of time to have a good gathering. And I think I still went to bed a decent hour. I don't know. I couldn't find my phone. I finally found it, head out the door, and now I'm talking to you guys. So yeah, it was a great time. A lot of the folks with Beast brought a bunch of Beast Unleashed, Nasty Beast. It was a great time.
Have you had a chance to see the Truex contact with the wall, and has your opinion calmed down a little bit over NASCAR's trigger happy caution button finger whatever?
I think I've only seen like the clips where they like pan to it real quick. He'd already hit the wall. I was trying to watch it and kind of catch up on the way. I'm probably not supposed to say that. On the way to the shop, I listening to it. I guess I can say that. I was listening to it. I wasn't watching it. So I was trying to catch up, but yeah, I didn't see Martin's car post race, but I would imagine it was pretty significant contact. It kind of looked like it from the little pieces of it.
There's nothing more frustrating.
Yeah, no, there isn't. I was mad. I just needed to calm down and focus ahead on the restarts that were coming. So that'll get better as I get older. I'll continue to improve on that. I realize it's not over. We got to shot.
Yeah. No, I thought your reaction was fine. I've that annoys the out of me. Anytime you're sitting there cruising with a win in your hand and a caution flag comes out, you just need to get to the white flag. So you're in this really great position for the playoffs, and I know you want to try to continue to put yourself in an even better position, but you basically got this weekend coming up, and you got a teammate, and you know what situation Bubba's in right there at the bubble. I know y'all haven't probably had a competition meeting to be able to really dive down into the nuts and bolts of a strategy, but what will be your what will be your approach? I imagine Bubba's probably just going to race hard, try to get stage points, try to do everything you can to put the pressure on Chastain. But what do you do? What can you do as a teammate?
I think we pretty much are going to be on the same strategy as him. The speedway racing, man, is just something else right now. If we weren't saving fuel like we do, the racing would be awful the entire race. It would be terrible. That's the funniest thing in all this. If we weren't saving fuel before we hit pit road, for that stage or whatever, we'd just be 2x2 the entire race, wide open, and just no one would go anywhere. Because I think a lot of these guys have gotten smart and understood that, if you're controlling the bottom or the top, you really don't allow yourself, as crazy as it sounds, right? I don't think you allow yourself to generate a run big enough to clear to the bottom or clear to the top, because that just opens up the inside or outside lane for the car that's behind you. And that's when you can kind of see that, cycle occur. I think in the beginning we saw that a lot, whereas the bottom or the top, they'd cycle up or cycle down, and then the next car up would take control of the inside or outside lane, and then they'd kind of be the car controlling it all. So, yeah, if it wasn't for the fuel saving that goes on, I don't think you'd really even see the racing that we kind of do. So, yeah, I'd rather be racing wide open, but it is a very complex battle on the racetrack that you're facing. You're trying to save fuel. You're trying not to be the last car on the lead lap or last car in the pack, while you do save less fuel at the very, very back. You're the last car in the pack. It affects the numbers there. But, it's just a complex situation every single stage. And I think just because of that, I don't think you can really risk throwing away the stage points, all those things. I think you kind of just have to stay up there and stay in the mix, and just hope that you aren't a part of the wreck if it happens. I think 23's got to do the same thing. We're just going to do what we can to save fuel and try to, cycle ourselves to the front at the end of the stages.
Monday races. I've always thought that when we have a rain delay and the race gets moved to the next day, that some guys don't stay up for the race the next day. That when they get back in the car on Monday, they've lost a little bit of give a shit. And so, at least in my mind, I always try to take advantage of that. And this was a chance for me to be, to take advantage of people that aren't motivated or have lost some motivation overnight. Do you think that that's the thing?
I think it happens sometimes, for sure. It's just situational. It would have been very easy for that to happen to us, I feel like. I remember every time it rained, I normally just go to the box and hang out with Billy, but I kind of communicated with him, each time what I was kind of feeling before I even got out of the car. Then I personally went back to the bus, and I was playing some Xbox. I was kind of checked out. I was kind of doing what you're talking about. When they finally called it, me and my kid were sitting there. We were playing Bluey and having a good time. Just time was just kind of blowing by. I knew we had some work to do, but we, kind of talked about it. We talked pretty quick. We're like, all right, I think we tighten up a little bit, we'll be all right. And we kind of just left it at that. And, I think there's a balance between not caring enough And then there's also the other side of it where you can overthink yourself into this whole area you don't need to be. So there's a balance. I was a little bit on the side of probably not thinking too much about it, but we had a plan going into Monday. It was the first time we hit pit road, and it really seemed like that was the adjustment we needed. It's a tough thing, especially a place like Michigan. You're trying to understand, all right, am I too tight? Am I too loose? Am I loose because of where I just ran that lap? Am I loose because of the air I got put in? And so it's hard to really understand what you're going to need to go a little bit faster. And for us, I was probably playing it a little bit safe by saying, let's tighten up. I don't want to have a moment spin out all by myself. But in reality, it woke our Camry up, and we were much better.
Well, we appreciate it, man. Awesome win. Great race to see you get up there and make it happen. And good luck going forward. I know, when you get Daytona behind you and be able to focus on the playoffs, it's going to be interesting to see how far you guys can go and capitalize on this momentum you have. So thanks for your time today. I know you had a long night last night and you got a lot going on this week, but we appreciate you giving us some time here.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was fun. Short week, but that's okay. It's Daytona. We don't need they got put the car together, but I just do my lap on Friday and just try to stay out of it on Saturday and score some points. Speedway's been good for us this year, so hopefully we get another win there too.
All right, now it's time for Dirty Modo with Tampa Tim's making all the best bets here in the past weekend at Michigan and looking forward to Daytona. Dirty Modo out every Thursday. They handicap the field for you if you want to get involved in trying to make a little bit of money. They might be the guys to listen to. So we got Tampa here. Host of our top 10 finish, and he finished 10th.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
And host of our over Dylan.
Yes.
You cashed that bet?
Both big bets.
Eric Jones finishing over 18.5. Didn't cash.
16th he finished. Tough break.
Damn.
I'd play that again every 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
That was a good play.
And all your live bets didn't work out.
Nope. I had Truex. He was Monday Martin, so just did that for fun. And then Chase, I thought Chase was on the good strategy once he passed Byron. And then I thought Kyle Busch, he was 12-1 live odds, so that was good odds. And he was on that other strategy, I thought. Yep. So none of them worked out, but it's okay. All
right, well, you're coming up on a pretty unpredictable race. Mm-hmm. All right, so going into Daytona, we talked about this last time, I think, with Talladega. Keep the bet simple, keep it minimal. Don't get creative, don't get smart. But what is your approach?
Exactly that, and have fun. If you want to bet that long shot, bet the long shot. I think stay away from the favorites is a good way to go about it. It's unpredictable, so maybe your win bets I'd keep to one or two long shots. Maybe you throw in, if you're a fan of Ryan Blaney or Denny Hamlin, they'll probably be up there. Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Just have fun. Don't go too crazy. Keep it small units and have fun.
With the way this race is positioned in the part of the season that it's in, you have a lot of unmotivated drivers that are good. Think about a Ryan Blaney or even a Denny Hamlin, right? They're in a good position playoff-wise. They've got other things, teammates and other people out there that they would probably want to see win this race above them. They won't openly admit that. Mm-hmm. But Denny is going to be trying to help Bubba all he can.
Yeah.
So, in this, if you go back to Talladega, they're racing for themselves, right? They're trying to win races, trying to get stage points, trying to do everything they can to help themselves in the playoffs. Well, they're there now. They've already accomplished everything. So to your point, the mentality of a lot of drivers might not be exactly what you think going into Daytona.
Yeah, to your point. This is probably the one drafting track, restrictor plate track that it's probably the most unpredictable one, but predictable as well, because I would, like you said, I would probably place Bubba before I'd place a Denny win bet, because I would assume Denny's going to try to push Bubba to the win. I think that's a higher percentage chance. You'll probably get better odds. So, yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, everybody, good luck this weekend. And, again, tune in to Dirty Modo this Thursday to get even more information and more opinions from Letarte and the rest of the gang about this upcoming race at Daytona. All right, it's time for the white flag. The Tuesday show is coming to a close. But don't forget, Monday we dropped the teardown with Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi as they covered everything at Michigan. And then also, Monday and today, Action Detrimental with Denny Hamlin and Door Bumper Clear is available. Thankful for everybody rushing home after the delay in Michigan to get all that done and get that available to us and you. Dropping tomorrow, Speed Street with Connor Daly and Chase Holden. Connor is back full-time racing in the IndyCar Series. We're thankful for that, and we're excited.
It's awesome.
Yes, and so now Connor able to give us a little bit more feedback on what he's experiencing behind the wheel of the car. And we have Derek Cope in the studio for the interview portion of the Dale Jr. Download this week. I'm excited about that. I'm going to talk about Derek's career as a driver, Daytona 500 winner, and a horrible crash he had at Richmond in the Xfinity Series, and then a team owner. How did that all work out? And what's he doing today? Thursday, we talked about it, DJD Reloaded. And then Dirty Mo Doe comes out as well. Don't forget the summer games are here, Dirty Mo Summer Games. All 8 episodes are available now on the Next Level with Andrew Curlin YouTube page. That's Next Level with Andrew Curlin YouTube page. And the Professor's bus race dropped over the weekend. Who's the Professor?
Professor on Dirty Mo Doe, of course.
His bus race?
Yeah. Well, we nicknamed all the events after.
It's Russell Racing Insights. Yeah. He had all the insights on the buses.
I got you.
Yeah.
Andrew took home the big win, and the trophy is still here.
Very proud of it.
Hopefully not for much longer.
Yeah. And Andrew will be at Daytona with our friends at Hellman's in the Fan Zone, interviewing you, the fans.
Yeah.
So look out for Andrew in Daytona this weekend. Big prizes and giveaways.
Yes. Yeah. There's one in particular prize. You have to be there that I'm really excited to give away. But, yeah, it is in the Fan Zone. We're in between the Toyota and the Exalta Gate, I want to say. I'll be there on 4 to 6 on Friday, 2:30 to 4:30 on Saturday. DBC's doing a Q&A on Saturday. Justin Allgaier's doing a Q&A on Friday. So there's a lot going on at the Hellman's display.
Right on, man. We're thankful for Hellman's. And that's enough about you, Andrew. Dalton has our weekly social media standout.
Yes. Last week we talked about school and military school and homeschool. And Brian Clifton commented in our YouTube and said, just wanted to let you know, homeschooled prom sucks.
Damn.
Oh.
He's the only one there, dressed up in his living room.
All right. And we got the question of the week. Tim's has a question of the week from Brad Kozlowski.
Yeah, at one time he said he was going to run a race in the truck series and never did. Is that still on?
Well, I'm not retired yet. But I can't find where I would want to race in the truck series. And, well, I was thinking Martinsville, but when you watch the truck race at Martinsville, they're just running through each other every corner. And so I don't quite know. Where should I race a truck?
IRP?
Possibly, yeah.
IRP would be cool.
IRP would be cool. Yeah, maybe.
First one that came to mind.
Man, I actually do like that racetrack.
It's cool.
Tim's just signed you up.
Yeah.
Like,
if you just sign this right here,
done.
we'll get it going. Yeah.
I hate that idea, actually. All right, so thanks for asking that, Brad. Keeping the pressure on, man. I want to dedicate this episode of the Dale Jr. Download to Scott Bloomquist and the family of Scott. Just a tragedy for a legend like that to pass away. Scott was on the show recently. We uploaded the entire YouTube version of Scott's interview for everybody to see. Very entertaining guy. And I wish that I would have been able to have gotten to know him over the decades that he's been in the sport. And I know that, the Scott Bloomquist that we know or knew today, it was probably different 10 years ago, probably different 20 years ago. And I would love to have known him as a person as he evolved and changed and grew up and went through life. But lucky enough to be able to have a chance to sit down and talk to him in this studio. And we're all very sad that he's gone.